And it is live, Facebook Live. Our Christian Minson here, Rythmia Life Advancement Center, Guanacaste, Costa Rica. And if you tune in to the video of this later, the recorded video, just skip about 4 or 5 minutes in. You'll get to the content right away. Otherwise, we're just saying hello to people as they join on. And so as you join on, type in your name, say hi, tell me where you're from. Risu, hello. And we'll just have a little conversation while we're waiting for people to go. Come here, Tammy Scarlett, hello. Rick Everett, welcome, welcome. Got people joining on. It's breakneck speeds here. Gord Barrett, once again. All right, it's official now. We can start. Dave Champeau, dude, did you get my email this week? Got a stem cell question for you. I don't think I did, David. Or if I did, I thought anyway, send it again, please. Creative Intuitive, hello. Rick Everett, namaste. Welcome, everyone. Come on aboard. It's looking like we're getting a good crowd today. Kevin Peterson, number of same names. David, yeah, just send away. Roseanne Jacks, hello. Andrea Zai, welcome. Andrea, have you been here before? Anyway, welcome. Tell me where you're from. Say hi. Start getting ready to use those likes and hearts and all those little buttons so that you can communicate with me in real time. This is an interactive type of approach, even though I'm the only one we can hear. Let me speak to you, with you, as you can type in questions, type in responses, all that kind of stuff in the chat bar. Whoa, all sorts of people. Gorbert, sup Rick, sup Christian, hey there Gord. Lisa, hello. Kevin, good morning, everyone. Indigo, hello. Gorbert, I see you came prepared. Yes, I did. Talking about that. Dominic, I missed Rythmia already. Come on back. Roseanne Jacks, Sean, Creative Intuitive Western, hello. Rosalind, hello. Brett from Iowa. Rick, I'm coming to Rythmia, brother. You got the scholarship. Excellent, Rick. Beautiful. We have 8 people who just got scholarships. 8 per month, I believe, is what the going rate is now, 2 per week. And Rythmia is pretty much, committed to $450,000 worth of scholarships. It's pretty much 8 people a month, all year long. So trying to level the playing field. It's sometimes a little bit pricey for everyone, but so we're doing our best to make it accessible for everyone. And Gord is saying, congratulations, that's epic. Indeed it is. Elisa is saying congratulations to you, and Rick, it's fucking ace. Debbie Garcia, welcome. Trevor, welcome from Boston. Elise from Cali. Rick, when are you coming? Trevor, how do you get a scholarship? That's a good question. We should, let me see here real quick. There is, it's going to take me a minute. I may not look the best while we're on here, but I am trying to look up for you about that question. Yeah, I do not see. I believe try, because I'm not seeing it in here. Try Rythmia. I'm sorry, scholarship at rythmia.com and ask that question. That is pretty much the best I got here, unless I can find it. Really a scholarship. Here we go. Support email. Been multiple email addresses given out. Some for support or assistance with the scholarship program. scholarships at Rythmia.com. Okay. Now see if I can get back to our Facebook Live. There we go. I'm going to put it in there. Scholarships at Rythmia.com. So that was a comment made by Rythmia just now. It would be absolutely amazing growing my spirituality, blah, blah, blah. So hello to everyone. Fiona Mayo joined. Hey, Fiona from England there. Fiona works here. She's currently on a little trip. Sending a hug. Oh, thanks. Beautiful sharing for all, blah, blah, blah. Trevor, hello. Susie, go to Rythmia. All right. .com for more scholarship and more. So Susie also said, just go to the Rythmia website. The Rythmia website, first of all, Rythmia.com. You can look up scholarship type of stuff, and then I put scholarships at Rythmia.com if you want to ask somebody specifically. All right, wow. So we got a good, close to record-breaking crowd, just under where we had last week. And Fiona is saying it's very cold where she is in England, and can't wait to get back. So here we go. I'm actually, because we're looking at the scholarship stuff, about 2 minutes behind. So let me just say welcome everyone to Facebook Live, Breathwork Edition, Fridays. I'm your host, R. Christian Minson, Director of the Breathwork Program here at Rythmia Life Advancement Center, Certified Transformational Breath Facilitator for the last 12 years, delivering breathwork and transformation all over the world. In these 12 years and currently at Rythmia. I'm a former monk of 10 years, a speaker, an author, co-contributor to this best-selling book, Align, Expand, and Succeed, Shifting the Paradigm of Entrepreneurial Success, which you can pick up exclusively here at Rythmia, so don't forget to get that before you leave, especially as ayahuasca gives you all sorts of amazing ideas for starting new businesses or new direction, and you want to do it in a conscious fashion, so that's really what this book is all about. I'm an internet coach and basically your catalyst for evolution and awakening. So welcome today, and just so you know, it's a special day for me. This is basically my 2-year anniversary here at Rythmia. Can you believe 2 flipping years? 2 years, 24 months. I came here November 8th, 2017, and in Rythmia years, basically the amount of life that gets packed into a week is about equivalent to 4 weeks. So 1 week equals 4, or 1 week equals 4. And so in Rythmia years, I've been here about 8, and it really feels that way. That's but feels that way in a good way because so much goes on, and you know, it's been a good ride, and you know, what can I say? I've enjoyed every minute of it. It's been intense. It's been transformational for myself. I often say that the people who need the most transformation are the people who stay here the longest, and that generally is the staff here. Right? You guys come, you're in and out in a week. You got your stuff. We're here for months, years on end, and so we're just the harder cases. But congrats, thank you. Hopefully you're saying that to me, and if not, to Rick, that's fine too. It's magical, so yes, blah, blah, blah. All right, today we're talking the subject, what is truth? Truth, what it is, why it's important, why it's an important subject, and how to align more with it is our thing. And then if you stick around for the end, a little musical interlude perhaps. So really, why truth? You know, if you think about it, when our life is aligned with truth, it just seems to flow. It goes like, you know, float on downstream. Turn off your mind, relax, and float downstream, as the great prophet John Lennon once said. If you know what song I'm talking about, type it in the chat bar. 10 points to whoever knows that. But when we're not aligned with truth, that's when, it feels like we're hitting brick walls. We get stuck. We have difficulties. Things don't seem to flow. And so it's important to understand. And Susie's saying, is it all relative? And that definitely is part of what we're talking about today. There's an Eastern Indian concept, and of course that's where I was a monk in the Indian order. It's in the United States, but Indian meditative order. When your life is aligned with truth, you're living what they call your dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A, your dharma, which is really, in a general nutshell sense, that you're living on purpose. You're living on purpose, meaning your life is in alignment with service and help to others, meaning you are a contribution to your environment, but at the same time, what you're doing is accelerating your own evolution. And that's really, if we really want the truth about the purpose of life, it is for us all to evolve into the divine beingness that we are, and all the rest is just fluff, as they say. The truth is a tricky customer at times. Indeed it is, Rick. And so to keep in mind that concept, also when I'm talking, let me just qualify and say that I'm not necessarily, you don't have to agree with me at any given time. I'm just sharing concepts with you that have aligned with my life of being a monk for 10 years, my life of being a breath worker for 12 years, my life of being at Rythmia for 2/8 years. And so if you want to give your perspective or counter something that I'm saying, let's have that conversation, all right? So we talked about this. When your life is really in tune with truth, you are living your dharma. You're living your divine purpose. So what is truth? Getting into this, there's really two concepts: truth, universal truth, that which is the fabric of reality, the fabric of creation. Now that may not be what we think it is. What I feel is really the foundation of universal truth is that we are spirit beings having a physical experience, rather than physical beings sometimes having an opening or an awakening of a spiritual nature. So this is fundamental truth. Fundamental nature of truth is that we all come from spirit. We are spirit in our essence and in a nutshell. And this kind of truth cannot be perceived through the intellect. It can't be perceived by observing, by the general laws of observation and inference and such. Universal truth can really only be perceived through intuitive insight, and that's where maybe sometimes we get into trouble, because we're striving to define truth based on the relative nature of things. And as Susie was just saying earlier, isn't it all relative? And so this is the second kind of truth. We have universal truth, but then we have relative truth. Relative truth is what's true for us in the moment. It may, in the moment, be aligned with universal truth, or may not. It may be true for you that you need a lot of sleep. You need a whole night's worth of sleep, and that's maybe it's not the greatest example, but trying to see. Well, here's a good example: gravity. Gravity is actually a relative truth. All right, now we might feel like, well, it's pretty much a physical principle, right? I mean, gravity, nothing really escapes gravity, But if we look at it from the perspective that universal truth is that we're all spirit, in essence, that gravity is a relative truth. It is a concept, a principle that actually can be transcended once we transcend the physical reality. Now, how easy is it to transcend that physical reality? That's that's the stuff that the ancient sages and wise men and women of millennia have been striving to do. So let's say it's not the easiest concept, and that's why gravity might seem like an absolute, like a universal truth, because as long as we're locked in this physical reality, but the physical reality is, as we said, relative to the spiritual reality. That this physicality isn't absolute. It isn't forever. So here we get into some concepts that we want to be careful of when we're dealing with truth in its relativity. Because a friend of mine's at a very awesome course right now, and gave me this quote that I've been chewing on for a while. Perception equals projection. Your perception is basically just your projection. And where does your projection come from? It's come from all the learning, all the concepts, all of the things that you've been told and you've just been taking for granted. Again, like years ago, they thought the earth was flat. I was mentioning this last week. So that's perception, or that is projection. We have this idea in our mind that the earth is flat, and so now the perception is the earth is flat. We all know now the earth is not flat, it's round. And so it seems kind of ridiculous to think it's flat. But that was a relative truth at one time. The earth was flat, or that the whole universe revolved around the earth rather than the earth revolving around the sun revolving around the grand central point, and so on. Some of this perception comes, let's see, hold on, let me see, we have blah, blah, blah. Okay. The perception comes from two places. One, it can come from the soul. Two, it can come from the ego, right? And I did a Facebook Live. I've referenced many times in the past. It's a good one to go along with this, called Soul versus Ego. So how we really can identify whether our perceptions are sort of soul-based or ego-based. And I would say that soul-based perceptions are more in alignment with universal truth. Ego-based perceptions generally are relative truth. And again, I'm not using the terms right and wrong here, or to say that because your truth is relative or not aligned with universal truth, that it is wrong. It is just relative. It is what it is, but it isn't necessarily the whole picture. Okay, and that can keep us out of a lot of trouble too. Instead of trying to make things black and white, or defining, this, you're bad or wrong for this perception, or good or right for this perception. It's just relative. Another way to look at it is reacting versus responding. And I think I've done a Facebook Live on that too. Our reactions tend to come from our projections. If we're perceiving something's happening, we perceive somebody's doing something negative to us, and they don't even have a clue. They don't see it that way. They thought they were just they may think they're being nice, right? And yet, as you dig into it, then you see that came from a perception, from a projection, basically, of a past experience that now you're projecting onto this person and defining what they're doing. Your relative truth is that they're doing something negative to you, and that isn't necessarily accurate. So reactions come from this projecting, whereas responding, to be able to respond, to actually be able to respond, we have to take a step back and recognize that in any moment, what we're seeing may be more relative than it is absolute. And whenever it's relative, there's the opportunity for different people to see it differently, because we can all be sharing the same experience and have relative perceptions around it at the same time. All right. Actually, Paula Brand joined. Beautiful. Love to see you on. Perception is everything. It's what we dictate your life and after. What will dictate your life and after. Yep. So perception equals projection. So the qualities of truth. These again, some of this comes from the philosophies I studied when I was a monk. One is that truth is really that which is in the highest good for all involved, right? There was a distinction made in these teachings: truth versus the facts. Right? We may say, well, the facts are the truth, right? The facts are this happened and this, my spiritual teacher gave the example. You might see somebody walking, not walking, but in a wheelchair coming down the street. You might say, "Hey, lame man," and so you might be speaking the facts, right? This person is lame. They're not able to fully walk or fully use their body. But is that truth? In this instance, it's not truth, because it's what you're doing is not in when you're stating that, it's not in the highest good for this person involved. They don't. It might be a fact that they have a lame body, meaning that the body isn't responding like a healthy and robust body would. But the truth of the matter is that they're universal beings, and they can be encouraged rather than discouraged by just a mentioning of the facts. So the facts aren't necessarily, the facts are facts, but if we're really getting into what is truth, truth is that which is in the universal highest good for all. Of course, truth is transparent. I mean, we can definitely see between truth and lies, or truth and deception. So whenever there's a hiding of what you're thinking, a hiding of what you're feeling. And sometimes that hiding can be, by blatantly saying something different. Sometimes that hiding can be by omission. You don't say something, so it's not like you didn't state a lie necessarily or an untruth, but by keeping yourself from stating anything, you created a gap between you and the truth. Truth promotes ultimately enlightenment, right? So as you go through, if you ever want to assess, am I living in truth? Am I speaking in truth? Am I relating in truth? And this is probably where truth has the biggest effect, is in how we relate to each other, right? Am I relating in truth? Well, think, is this truth promoting enlightenment? Again, is this truth promoting enlightenment for myself? Is it promoting enlightenment for the other person? If we use that, that facts example just a minute ago, hey, lame man, is that really promoting their enlightenment? No. If anything, that's, just helping solidify in their mind that they're less than, that they're not, that they're not fully capable of everything everybody else is. And so that's squashing them down somewhat. Enlightenment, the signs of enlightenment are happiness, peace, contentment. These are the kind of things that make, that show you that enlightenment is being promoted. So when, am I living in truth? Am I living in, am I relating in truth? To say, am I promoting happiness through what I'm doing? Am I promoting peace? Am I promoting contentment? Am I promoting security and safety? all these would help you understand whether you're truly expressing or living in truth or not. And again, sometimes that's not just being blatant about the facts. Again, if you want to counter this or say anything, express your opinion, ask any questions, feel free to do so in the chat bar. See a lot of chat going on with Rick, who has been our scholarship winner, one of our scholarship winners this week, and I'm super happy for that. So how do we align with the truth? We talked about why it's important. Truth keeps your life in the flow. Life aligned with truth is, essentially living your dharma, your ultimate spiritual purpose that is promoting health, happiness, and enlightenment around you, as well as your own. Talk about what truth is, the universal truth. Ultimately, as I'm stating, is that we're spirit beings. The relative truth, which is based on our own perceptions, which are usually just our projections, unless we're very astute about what we're perceiving. The qualities of truth. Truth promotes enlightenment. Truth promotes the highest good for all. It's transparent, non-deceptive, and not always just the facts. And so, how do we align with all this? And Gord's saying, plant medicine, yeah, and acceptance. As I mentioned earlier, ultimate truth can only be perceived through our intuitive capabilities. So our real goal is to develop that intuitive capacity. So we commonly know that we have 5 senses, but you've heard about a 6th sense. And intuition is our 6th sense, and it is real. It's like we do have 6 senses. The problem is we've been exercising 5 senses all our lives, and we've been very not diligent about exercising that 6th for the most part, right? There's some people who really, really got it. And, typically, again, it's not, it's maybe a stereotype, but women tend to have that 6th sense a little bit more developed. And, cause I think they're just in tune with the situation. Guys are often goal-driven, looking ahead, not really fully assessing the situation. So maybe not as much into that intuition. I should have Paul Brand saying, Alan Watts said, the attitude of faith is to let go and become open to truth. Excellent. And I just happen to be wearing the faith shirt today, appropriate t-shirt for today. Awesome. And that is that's a good thing. Faith, faith. Why is he saying that? Because faith, when we're talking about intuition, we're no longer in the realm of concrete facts, right? Concrete. I saw this. I felt. I heard this. I could taste this. I could write this and see this. No, you have to let go and get into that realm of that 6th sense, which is beyond the physical reality, beyond the relative truth. And so striving to get more in tune with that ultimate truth. So thanks for that. And Karen is saying, is truth ever expansive and evolving as consciousness is eternal? Our poor finite brains, yeah. I would say yes, exactly. That once again, as we sit here in the plane of physicality, which is really the plane of relativity, and we're talking about what's available beyond. It's like we're all in 1st grade, right? We're all in 1st grade, and we're trying to really grasp what we're going to be doing in college. Right? It's just like there's really no capacity
to understand on the level of intellect what is going on in that universal truth. So once again, we need to develop those intuitive capabilities, those intuitive powers that we have. And then we'll probably see, just like Karen is saying here, that truth is ever expansive, that there is no ultimate end. And that's one of the things that sometimes you can experience right here at Rythmia, right here when you're doing plant medicine ceremonies. Dinah, I miss you and Rythmia. I miss you too, Dinah. When are you coming back? New York is probably getting cold now, isn't it? Jill Diz joined. Hey, haven't seen you for a while. Nice to have you on, and welcome. So we're saying once again, to align with truth, we've got to develop our intuitive faculties. How do we do this? I think the primary way, in my opinion, from my practice, from everything I've learned, is meditation. Meditation is the act of really practicing turning off the world and tuning in to the inner core, that spirit, that thread, energetic thread of spirit that's running through you, that allows you to go back into the intuitive perception of reality. It's turning off all the senses. It's like you switch off the light, you put in the earplugs, you plug your nose and mouth, and then what you perceive in there at first seems like a lot of darkness. It just seems like nothing. And that's where you sit until the intuition, until the perception starts to bubble up from within. It's probably the best analogy that I can give. And so meditation, breath work is a great intuition developer. Breathwork is, I always bring this back to breathwork in some way, shape, or form, because it's such a powerful tool. We're really working with, we're working with the elements of relativity, which is our breath, which is our life force moving through the oxygen and through the act of respiration. And so as we process more life force energy, we awaken the intuitive capacities within us, and different perceptions start to come to light. Again, this is outlined a whole lot more in that Facebook Live, Soul versus Ego. So look that up either on Facebook Live or on the Facebook archives, Rythmia video archives, or in the YouTube. We also put these on YouTube. And of course, let's see here, David. Spiritual decision and declaration change your life, elevate your level of consciousness, and bring you closer to knowing the truth. Dr. David Hawkins. So let's say this again. So this is a direct addition to how to align with truth. Spiritual decision and declaration change your life, elevate your level of consciousness, and bring you closer to knowing the truth. So what he means by spiritual decision and declaration, we'd have to get into with David Hawkins' teachings, but I say in general, it means to start diving into the spiritual aspect of who we are, which means, again, to develop the intuitive insight, to go beyond the relative physical plane so that we can start to perceive truth in a deeper manner. So meditation, breath work, of course, plant medicine and the Rythmia program. This is a powerful process that often blows open your consciousness so that you perceive things from a whole different level. And oftentimes it's like you are at that, God's eye perspective, looking down on life, on your life. Sometimes you can even see yourself just laying there and recognize that, and then the perceptions that come through that experience can start to lead you in this path of spiritual decision, declaration, and knowing more
getting more in alignment with what a lot of people leave here with a sense of like what their purpose is in life, like what their new direction is. And once again, we said a life aligned with truth is ultimately your dharma. Your dharma is your life purpose, your ultimate life purpose, your purpose that's been, ordained on you by life itself. Not like what you want to do or what's going to make you the most money or what you're really jazzed about. Usually those are elements that help, that usually come as a result of really living on purpose. But your purpose, again, what's actually going to be a contribution to the world's upliftment and evolution, and also a contribution or path that's constantly taking you in higher states of elevation. And David's saying, yes, what essentially David Hawkins is saying is going inward. Spiritual decision and declaration, going inward, getting in touch with that intuitive insight. Petra, to me, the moment of being in space during meditation is my absolute truth. It is the place to become real truth when everything, especially healing, is possible. And that's it. That's, let's say, one of the benefits of truth. Maybe I should have said this early on. Like, one of the benefits of truth, when you are aligned with truth, anything is ultimately possible. Because truth is the field. Truth is the field of possibility. And we have been, imagine, a whole field, and you could go in any direction. You could go in every direction. And if you had enough time, you could go in every direction. But what do you take? You see a path through that field, and you more than likely start walking on that path. It's the path that everybody's trod before. So now this becomes an ingrained way of being. The whole field is open to you and everybody, but almost everybody will take the same path. And that becomes the relative truth then. It's like, yeah, how do you get through that field? Through the path, right? And everybody will accept that. But you could go through the flowers, you could go through the trees, you could go through, you could roll through the field. The possibilities are open, but how we choose to accept those possibilities is really what we're talking about here. Let's see, Tracy on YouTube, Enlightenment, the documentary is an amazing documentary to watch regarding what we're talking about and understanding your path. So there's another resource. Thank you, Tracy. And Larson joins. Susie, I'm so open to exploding my consciousness wide and receiving truth as I have at Rythmia, yet my attachment to my body seems to be keeping me in fear of death and beyond. And Petra says, absolutely. I'm not sure if you're saying absolutely to Susie or exactly what I'm saying. And that's a good point there. Our relative truth, is often very strong. Our attachment to our truth, our consciousness, is like that path. It's like we're almost magnetically drawn to take the path rather than to walk through the field, the tall grass. There might be snakes in the tall grass. I better, it might be dangerous there. Who knows? Maybe I'll fall into a hole or something. Let's just take the path. Let's just, we know the path is tried and true. The path is our physical body, our physicality. And we're so familiar with this that then, this idea of stepping off the path, stepping out of what we know is can be quite daunting. And again, that has to do with the nature of the ego too, which you might find in that Soul versus Ego Facebook Live. Are people having Kundalini awakenings with ayahuasca at Rythmia or a similar experience, self-realization, soul convergence? How would it best be described what ayahuasca assists us to experience? I would say how to best describe it is ayahuasca helps you to live a better life, to be more satisfied with your life, to be more in tune with the flow of your life. You can use any of those things, Kundalini awakening, self-realization, soul convergence. We use three terms here, three overriding intentions at Rythmia: show me who I become, merge me with my soul, and heal my heart. So we could say that those things typically happen. And in those things happening, your life becomes aligned. If you're merged with your soul, you are in alignment with the higher level of who you are. If your heart is healed, once again, open to love and to commune in not such a guarded way. If you know who you become, that's usually the first step. You know who you become, so you know the playing field now. You know where you have to go. If you know who you become, and it's usually not that pretty, and believe me, it's not pretty for any of us, including myself, then you know which direction you can go. So hopefully that helps describe that, Karen. And Gord says all of the above as well. Daunting but worth it. Roseanne is commenting on us learning to transcend our physicality, and that's indeed some of the experience that happens here. People typically go through a death and rebirth, and that can feel, nobody's actually physically died here, okay? So there's not, when we're talking about death, there has never been a physical death happening, but people can really feel like they're dying because they're really, what they're doing is it's the death of the ego, death of a very ingrained way of thinking and being, that as it's being wrenched from your consciousness, and I would say this, the more resistance you have to it, the more painful that experience is. And this is exactly the metaphor for death ultimately, when you leave this planet too. The more resistance you'll have to that, to your soul finally departing, generally the more painful that experience is going to be. The more you can surrender to the experience and let the natural course of life into transition happen, generally the smoother and the more beautiful it will be. So what we're doing here is really practicing life. And let's see, Tracy, Karen, for me, it was not like a Kundalini experience, which I've experienced prior. It's seeing how we're connected to the rest of the world, and I believe it's individual to each person, and each time is also very different. Well put, Tracy. There's such a variety of experiences. Well, we can say this. It's an experience of giving you exactly what you need to propel your life forward in greater happiness and greater harmony and greater alignment with the truth. Okay, that's really what you're experiencing here. Susie, thank you. Soul versus ego. Aha, we'll go deeper. Courage is key. Petra says, sounds amazing. Michelle is saying, good evening. Lovely to see you. Good to see you too, Michelle. Susie, ego death happened at Rythmia. Have to stay in remembrance of it. That's right. It's, it is one of the biggest, one of the most profound, and I'd say one of the most special experiences you can have. If you can have a death, and because death is the one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is the rebirth, right? It's the rebirth that really is the beauty. As our Taita Juanito would say, there's the bitter, the death is that bitter part, and then there's the sweet. The sweet is the reemergence. As you let go of an old way of thinking, a relative truth that's usually based in projection, right, versus reality, then you can emerge into sweetness, a way of being that's more in alignment with truth, more in the flow, more helping you to continuously be productive help to the upliftment of your environment as well as your continued evolution. Knows exactly, Mother Ayahuasca knows exactly what you need. Gord, excellent way to put it. Christian, thank you. What is supposed to happen will happen, and what you are supposed to see, you will see. It's all for you. And that's even if you don't see, quote unquote, anything. A lot of people are looking for visions and they don't get them. Life is the real results of this process, and I'd say the real results of everything we're talking about is how your life shifts and changes as you start to move through it. Do things flow more smoothly? Do you react less and respond more? Is your heart more open? Are you willing to extend love whether you get it back or not? This is all the truest value of what you're learning here, because it's your life. It's, you'll be here for a week,
you're going to live the rest of your life for 52 times. Let's say the average person might still have 40 years left. What is that? To 4,000 weeks left. So 1 week to give you the ability to live fully and more beautifully the next 4,000 weeks of your life. Okay? And others are talking about living to 120 and 180. We just had Dave Asbury here, who's committed to living to 180. So, then multiply that 4,000 weeks by much more. Do you have a Mita Muscar workshop at Rythmia? No, I don't know who that is. Sorry, Bart. Cassandra, Resurrection, yes. Dina Payne, hey, doing up, Dina? Haven't seen you in a while. Nice to have you on. Okay, so we're kind of wrapping up. I wanted to say a couple other ways to align with truth. And this, the Buddhist philosophy talks about the beginner's mind, and I think that's really, really where we, empty, open up that jar, let out everything that we think we know, because everything we think we know basically has been based in this relative reality. Empty out that mind and be like a child. Be curious, be open, be receptive to all it is, and it almost more that state is really truth than that state brings you an understanding of truth. That state itself is truth. And another way, it's often said in a cliche way: would you rather be right, or would you rather be happy? All right. To be right really is to state the facts, kind of like a lawyer. This happened, this, and this, and so this is the way it is. And so you could be right and miserable. Or would you rather be happy? Would you say, regardless of the facts, regardless of what, let me just open up to the possibility that life is just beautiful, and let's see where we go. And truth seems to come out of that. Randy, I've recently realized that wanting better in all aspects of my life requires change, obviously, which begins with facing my truths. And that can be painful. Otherwise, ayahuasca will put truth in your face. That's it. I mean, if you're coming here, what are you coming here for? To deceive yourself more? We can continue to deceive ourselves. And you said facing truth can be painful, but I'll tell you what's more painful: living for decades in a facade of lies or a facade of hiding from the truth. That's definitely going to be much more painful than the temporary pain you might go through and really getting pushed to really see truth for what it is. Just my perspective. Take it or leave it. I definitely feel more calm and have more patience after my experience, and continue to receive information to help my life move forward. Such a great experience. I'm looking at going again. So this is Tracy's experience here. So this is essentially what I'm saying. As you have this experience here for a week, it's an awakening, right? It's a momentary experience in life. But it's the rest of your life is your path of mastery, right? Your path of having more patience, to receive more information to help guide you so that you, again, smoothly navigate life rather than coming up against those brick walls so often. So thanks for that share, Tracy. Shall join just as we're getting close to the end. Randy Nichols, I learned to face my truths at Rythmia. Beautiful. Kenneth, says wonderful. So, what if you decided to actually take action on this? What if you started practicing, getting in touch, taking time to tune in with the inner fountain of wisdom rather than continuing to take your cues from the outer world? Think how much more secure, more content, more in the flow you'd be, because it is that ultimate truth, which is the wellspring of all conscious knowledge as it is. And once again, we can navigate this physical reality, replace this is real, and you should do this, and you should make lots of money, and you should gain this and that, and look how many people are really satisfied with that kind of life. Or you can tune in, say what truly is promoting happiness, what is truly promoting my peace and contentment. Again, those are the qualities of enlightenment being engendered in your being, and that leads you to living your life of Dharma, or that ultimate truth that is both in support of your environment and yourself. So with that, we're coming up on a time. All right, as it's become quickly a tradition, want to play a song. Trying to think of what song might really embody truth. I don't have any songs that are directly related to truth, but I felt like this song really just states it as it is. It kind of says this is life, and I felt that resonated with truth here, with our conversation about truth today. So, Jack Johnson. Times like these, times like those, what will be, and so it goes, and it always goes on and 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 on it goes. And there's always birth and dying, laughing, crying, boys and girls with hearts that take and give and break, and heal and grow, recreate, raise and nurture, and hurt from time to times like these, times like those. What will be, so it goes. And there's always the stop and go, fast and slow, action, reaction, sticks and stones and broken bones. Those for peace, those for war. God bless these ones, not those ones, these ones. Times like these, times like those. But we will be, and so it goes. And it always goes on and 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 on it goes. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Somehow I know it won't be the same. Somehow I know it'll never be the same. All right, Sylvia stepped in the studio audience here at the last minute. All right, yeah. So
And it was my song.
you can't miss the song. That's the most important part of these Facebook Live now. And everybody, let's see, saying thank you. Gee whiz, you're a musician too, man. Many talents. Thanks, Roseanne. Gosh, good to see you on. Susie, thank you for your music. Thank you, Tracy. Take me back to ceremony last week. Thank you, brother. Yeah, that's beautiful. If you get here in the next 8 weeks or so, you'll get a chance to hear me on this thing too. Generally on the Wednesday night ceremonies. Randy Nichols loves it. Julie joined in a little late. Hopefully you can catch the replay. Tracy is so cool. Yay, thanks, and clapping. All right, folks, so this brings me pretty much to the top of the hour. I had a great time with you. I hope this has been an enlightening experience.
talking about truth. Like I said, my main objective is to put stuff out there to get you to start really exploring these topics all on your own. Not that I'm all knowledgeable, or that this what I'm saying is the truth. Is what I'm saying is find out for yourself, and the best way is to go within and start that inner dialogue, and even David Hawkins agrees with that. So with that, until next Facebook Live, namaste. We'll see you next week. Our Christian Minson signing off.
Mic drop.